Welcome back. Welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Welcome to Bombs. I'm Ross. I want to jump right into it. I know you don't have a lot of time because everybody is so busy. Everybody has so many things to do. Everybody got so many errands to run. Nobody sits still just for a moment to edify and educate and sharpen themselves. But this is not for you. Everything I just said, disregard because I wasn't talking to you, because if you're here for a reason. So let's jump right into it. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you on behalf of Bombs for tuning in, because if it wasn't for people like you that want to educate themselves or empower themselves or become sharper or just be around other like-minded people, this platform wouldn't be possible. So first and foremost, thank you for what it is that you do and how you do it. With that being said, let's jump right into it. As you clicked on the video, it says become the ultimate gatherer. What do I mean by that? It's simple. Life is awarded to the skillful. What does that mean? If you have skills and attributes, you'll get a job. If you perfect those, or you're better than the previous entry-level person that just know the skills, if you're better than them, those who know the skills or have those skills, you get paid more. If you perfect those skills, you get paid the most. If you can not only perfect, but you can teach and you can micromanage, you get the position of manager, supervisor, VP, president, CEO, so forth, so on. All right, cool. We know that. We got that out the bag. So what do I mean by become the ultimate gatherer? Life is full of trials. It's full of tests. It's full of so many things. But if you can find a way to take time out and see the bigger picture, maybe you might be onto something. So if you have had any shortcomings in life, don't look at them as shortcomings. Look at them as opportunities that you can sharpen yourself with. You need to become a Swiss Army knife of education. You need to become a Swiss Army knife of things that you can apply to better yourself. There are a lot of distractions that are going on, and in my opinion, it's not by design. However, distractions are subjective. It's kind of like success. One thing might distract you, but to the next person, it might not distract them because they really don't put value or interest in whatever it is. So I'm not going to knock you for your distractions. Don't knock me for mine. But what we can both agree on, or we all can agree on, that we have distractions. So how can we address them? We need to take time, isolate ourselves, and realize where we're spending most of our time. The cool thing I will say about smartphones or iPhones or whatever the case may be, they have something that is pretty interesting. If we take time out or a second to actually look at it, they have something called screen time, where you can monitor or record your screen time, right? I think we should really pay attention to that, because a cell phone or a phone was solely to make a call. It was really kind of only for emergencies, but it has consumed and overtaken our day. It's overtaken our mind. It's overtaken our time, which is becoming problematic because it's not allowing us to become a gatherer. Only if you are using this, but let's be real. Most of us aren't using this information. It's not really a benefit towards us, our life. It's more so for entertainment. But we won't get into that in this particular video. If you are using that device, let's say we are using a device how it was intended, how we should properly use it. Let's use this phone, the cellular phone, the iPad, it doesn't matter. Anything that you can access the internet with, let's use it for our gain. Let's use it for our benefit. How can we do that? We need to filter out our search engine. We need to filter out the amount of time that we're willing to spend on this device, because if I talk for 4 hours, I'm pretty sure you guys aren't going to be tuned in for 4 hours, no matter how great this content is, how edifying and educational it might be. There are a few of you that would be, but for the most part, human nature, we just like, okay, this is becoming a lecture. Okay, this is not really, he had some great points, but I think I got my share, which is what I do agree with. I will say that if I did talk for 4 hours, or anyone else talk for 4 hours that I admire or I looked up to, I couldn't necessarily watch it all in one day, because I like to break it down throughout days, so that I can take notes and I can better assess what it was that particular individual was saying. I can turn a 20-minute video or 15-minute video into a probably an hour thing because I'm taking notes, I'm breaking things down, and I like to educate myself. And that's what brings me to my first topic, the original topic, which is my first point, becoming an ultimate gatherer. We have to actually dissect things, not just for face value, especially if people are taking the time out to put this content out. It would behoove you not to use it for your gain, no matter what it is. It might not spark your interest, but however, there's some value in what that particular individual is saying. You can say, hey, I don't like drinking water. But if someone is passing out water, it would behoove you not to take some of that water, because you can say, well, I'm a tea drinker. You can use that water. Well, I'm a coffee drinker. You can use that water. Well, I'm a Kool-Aid drinker. You can use that water. So it would behoove you not to use that water, to take that water if someone is giving it out freely. So become a gatherer, a gatherer, a gatherer, a gatherer, a gatherer, the ultimate gatherer, because it would behoove you not to gather this type of information in today's time. We live in an information era. I was talking to my wife, we had so many different errors in the human. No, I'm sorry. We only had 4, if I'm not mistaken. We had, and she's going to get on me because when she watched this, oh, you wasn't listening. I was listening. It's just, I'm trying to get it out. But the Stone Age, the Metal Age, it was one more age after that. And then here we are today, where we live in an age of technology. And why are we not becoming more technical with what it is that we regurgitate? I don't need to see things that's not going to be uplifting to my psyche, that's not going to educate me. Sure, we can have that moment of time lapse, like, hey, I just want to unwind. But you know what's going on? I think they said 70%, or maybe I'm pretty sure it's higher. After a certain age, maybe 20s, people start reading books. Fine. Okay. You don't want to read books. What about listening to an audiobook? You don't want to do that. But what about a TED Talk or a podcast of people that are successful, or listen to authors? How many people know about Robert Greene? If you don't, perfectly fine. Let me introduce you who he is. Robert Greene is the author of 48 Laws of Power. I'm pretty sure we all heard those books. And just go from there. Gather information. It might not be a lot of stuff that you would be interested in reading. However, there are some vital things that you can learn from it. It's like if you go to a grocery store. Everything in a grocery store is not for you. However, there are vital things that you need. Well, people might say, well, Ross, that's different. It's groceries. It's the grocery store. I need to eat. I have to survive. And that's exactly how your mind feels. That's exactly how your mind feels. It needs to feel vibrant. It needs to survive. It needs to be sharpened. So therefore, we have to be the ultimate gatherer. We need to gather information, whether it's about books, whether it's about finances. We need to know about finances. We need to know about certain things associated with finances. We need to know the difference between a liability and asset. Just briefly, really quick, Spark Note. An asset pours into you. It gives you, it pours into you. A liability takes from you. It's not just financially. It doesn't just take away from you financially. And an asset might not pour into you starting off. However, for example, a car is an asset. How? Because it allows you to get to the grocery store. It allows you to get to the gym to better yourself, to sharpen yourself, which is another thing on our list to becoming an ultimate gatherer. It also allows you to get to and fro to work, to drop the kids off, or to pick up family members, or to just do good things. However, it becomes a liability if it's an ultra expensive car. It becomes a liability. So what was once intended to be an asset, it has become a liability because it's too expensive. The car insurance is too expensive. So now you got to go do a side job just to pay for this car. If you would have just got a lower entry level vehicle, you wouldn't have to go get a side job to pay for this vehicle. So now you're trading your time and your energy and your rest and your peace and happiness and your ability to regroup, you're trading that in exchange for an expensive vehicle. Not a good idea. So that's the first thing in finances we need to understand and learn. What is an asset? What is a liability? Is it beneficial? Does it depreciate rapidly? Let's say if you outgrew it or you wanted to, get rid of it, clear out the garage or the parking space. Could you sell it? Could you get a decent amount of money back for it? Just using a car for an example. Those are things that we need to know about, asset and liability. And I mentioned the gym. We have to be gatherers of information even in the gym. It's not about getting a nice chest and a big old arms. It's not about that. It's about what we can see. It's about the organs. It's about the function of the organs. It's about the heart, getting that cardiovascular exercise. These are the things that Bombs, this platform wants to talk about. And I'm fortunate and thankful enough to be able to be a participant to deliver it to you. So we have to become the ultimate gatherer. And I've taken time out and gathered information over the years that I'm excited to share with you, as well as this program. So what else can we gather? We can gather good relationships. We can gather good friendships, companionships. There's a word called confidant. And if you're not familiar with what a confidant is, in a nutshell, that is a person that you can depend on that's going to help you, whether it be verbally, whether it be spiritually, whether it be emotionally, even financially, help you get to your greater self. So you need to gather those people along the way. You need to gather confidants. You need to gather business partners. And how do you do that? First, you have to be about your business. Study and show thyself approved, meaning you need to be watching certain things to, when you hear certain things, you're able to keep up in a conversation. You're able to input yourself in the conversation, opposed to it visibly seeping out of your pores of, oh, I'm so uninterested. But the sad part about being uninterested, especially in our youth, we're all young. Most of us are young, and a lot of us, hopefully we have all ages watching this particular program. But what I see in my peers and younger, they think that, oh, I got so much time, or they really don't believe that life is only going to get more difficult financially because the rate of inflation. Another spark note, inflation. If you don't understand inflation, you're in a rude awakening, because if I take $100 today, and a lot of people might say, hey, $100 does not go a long way in 2024, right? 2015, that $100 went a lot further in 2015 than it will today. It went a lot further in 2020 than it would today. So the rate of inflation, we can't keep up with it. So we need to understand and know about small investments. We need to know about things. If you're not interested in knowing about, or it might seem intimidating about stocks and things of that nature, we can learn about 401k together, which I already know, and I'll be more than happy to share with you. We can talk more about index funds, to where people are able to invest your money safely for you in the magical 7, as they call them. Or you could, find more about high yield savings. But all those things come with first understanding finances. And it's not about to just say, oh, you need to save. Sure. However, but you also need to invest. And understanding, once you really lock in on understanding the difference between an asset and a liability, it kind of break you down to say, you know what, it breaks down. I don't really need this particular thing. I don't need it. It's a want, but I don't need it. And if I truly want it, how about I go without it for a while? And when I do get the finances, do I really want it? And a rich person told me this. They wanted a lot of things when they were quote unquote, I'll just say they wanted a lot of things when they wasn't able to afford it. I said, wow. But now that this particular person has the money and can afford it, those things that were appealing to him at one point in time is really not that appealing. Quite frankly, it's on the contrary. For example, you really don't want to look rich when you are rich. You might want your few things. Nothing wrong with that, because I have a thing for watches and art. That's just what I am. What I would like to identify as a collector, so to speak. And I haven't even really got into it yet, big time. But I have my eyes on a few things that I'm interested in, not indulging in, but dabbling in, so to speak. But back to what I was saying about assets and liabilities, when you become financially stable and able to do certain things, you might not want to do it. You might want to say, you know what, instead of doing that, I would rather do that, because you're becoming more and more savvy, because now you got the experience, the euphoria of getting a return on your investments. There is nothing like a ROI, return on your investments. We're giving a lot of spark notes tonight, so gather this information. So back to the original topic, you want to be the ultimate gatherer. And the only way you can do that is by putting yourself in position mentally. You got to empty out this basket. You have to look at your mind as a basket. That's how you have to look at it. It's a basket. But if it's full of things, you know, you're going to fill it up really quick. And those things, those underlying things that already occupy your mind will eventually begin to creep up. And now you're not really focused on the new things, because the old outweighs the new. So you got to empty out that basket, and that takes time. Empty out that basket. Just keep on digging, You keep on digging. And that's what we have to do. We have to become the ultimate gatherers. But before we can do that, we have to first empty out this, metaphorically speaking, this basket, so we can fill it up with good things. Because all day we're being distracted. All day we're being pulled at. All day we're being taken away from. Especially if you are the person that are, like I believe that you are, because you're listening to this video. You took the time out to find this video. This is the type of content that speaks to you. So obviously you are a person that wants to be that Swiss Army knife. You are the person that wants to separate yourself from your peers, not in a way that you just want more out of life, and there's nothing wrong with it. Never let anyone make you feel less than because you want more. The irony of that is it's mind-blowing. So gather. I believe that great things are in store for those who gather. Sure, it takes time. But not only are you gathering to improve your life, you'll look up, people will become liaisons of you without even trying. People will ask you for information, because there's nothing greater than an individual that is willing to give out information, because you want to expedite their road. You want them to get to their desires, dreams, and goals faster than you did, because you can be the person for them that you always wanted. And that's what Bombs is about. It's about each one teach one. It's about gathering together and pouring into one another good information, because we are bombarded all day with complaints, with misery. Misery desires company, problems, frustration, anger. And if you aren't bombarded with that, believe someone else is. And I'm glad. You are very fortunate not to be. You might not be experiencing it personally or close to you, but just know we live in a time where there's a lot of anguish going on throughout our communities. But you can be a pillar in your community, and you can help people. You can pour into people because you gathered information. But one thing I definitely want you to remember as you're becoming a gatherer: gather gratitude. Because Everyone doesn't have the mind to get better. Everyone doesn't have the mind. And once you gather gratitude, what that showed me is that you have to be patient with people. And you also have to be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to believe you can't be so hard on yourself. And I struggled with that in the beginning, but now that's what I want to share with you all is gratitude. Gratitude is everything. So as you continue to elevate in life, I want you to be grateful, and that will continue to pour on more opportunities, more blessings, more fortune towards your way. And all those things aren't necessarily monetary. It's about health. It's about mental. It's about emotional. It's about stability. It's about those. Those things are very important. Rockefeller had 8 heart transplants because he wanted to be the oldest and the richest man in the world. So it's very important that we take care of that heart. We take care of those vital organs that keep us alive and vibrant. And that's what I want to instill in all of us. So gather that information today. If you have been slacking a little bit on your health and wellness, I encourage you today, get out and take a walk. It's beautiful. It's October, my favorite month of the entire year. And you only get one October a year. So I would love to know that you'll be here next October. But the only way that we can do that is with fortune, obviously, and grace. And more importantly, taking the initiative to put our health and wellness first. So as always, I enjoyed this. Hopefully that I dropped a few things that you will be able to gather on your road to success. Remember, success is subjective, so are distractions. So I'll leave you with that. As always, I enjoyed it. This is Bombs. I am Ross, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.